2018 high school football season is officially here. And with that, we bring you the debut of the Friday Nite Blitz. We're San Antonio's only 30-minute high school football show, and today we'll take you to 8 different matchups in and around the Alamo City. Let's not waste any more time. Up first, Steele and OConnor for our Friday Nite Blitz Game of the Week. Our Thomas J. Henry Game of the Week is a big 6A matchup. The 6th-ranked OConnor Panthers taking on the 3rd-ranked Steele Knights. Steele's sophomore quarterback Wyatt Beagle only suffered 1 loss last year as a freshman, now leads the team into 2018. Knights' first drive of the 2nd quarter, Beagle out to Quavion Thomas, absorbing the hit and fighting into Panthers territory. Beagle then keeps the drive alive with a scramble and toss to the back of the end zone. Junior Daniel Jackson fights for the catch in the 7-0 Steele lead in the 2nd quarter. But OConnor put together a scoring march to answer back. 17 plays, 70 yards. It took 7 minutes off the clock. Dennis Dodd hits Dylan Murray to knock the score at 7 going into halftime. This one would stay close up until the very end, but the Panthers prevail. OConnor wins it 21-14 over Steele. Our Mike Lefko is standing by with more on our Game of the Week.
Here with the victorious David Molesky and the OConnor Panthers. And Coach, this was a scoreless game after the 1st quarter. What really started to click for you guys moving forward?
I'll tell you, defensively we came out and we did some good things early and kind of kept us in the ball game and kept them knocked back a little bit. And we struggled a little bit offensively. I mean, we lost some incredible kids last year, and we're trying to figure out who fits where and who's good at what. And then our offensive line, I think, really kind of took things over and kind of changed their attitude about things, about how they were coming off the football. And then we started moving the football, running it, and then obviously that kind of opened up some things in the back end. And so it wasn't a one person deal. It wasn't a one-sided of the football. It was a bunch of guys that are trying to figure out who they are. We as a coaching staff are trying to figure out too, but they continue to fight and they can play. They played all night long with total effort, and so that's who we want to be regardless of what the scoreboard says.
What did David Dodd do to show you some confidence to keep him at the starting quarterback spot? And he really looked like he took over in the 2nd half.
Well, he did. I mean, when you come in here in this environment against this team, I mean, it's kind of intimidating, especially for a kid that hadn't played at this level before. And it takes some time to get adjusted. And first game of the year, and we're just trying to figure out how to put our pads on and, those kind of things, much less go play against a team like Steele. I mean, it takes a little time. And so David hung in there, didn't get down, didn't start, He showed a lot of composure.
This was a team that had a lot of pieces to replace, a team that went very far in the state playoffs last year. How did this group come together through camp to replace those pieces?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we still had quite a few kids tonight that were playing on this field that played last year on this field. And so they've done a great job in showing the other kids, the kids that weren't a part of that, what it takes and what it's going to be about. But, this is a huge step for us, for those younger guys who didn't experience it last year, to say, hey, I can do the same thing. And so we're encouraged by it, and we're going to enjoy the bus ride home. There's no question about that. But tomorrow morning we're going to wake up and we're going to evaluate where we are. And because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about wins. We feel like that if we concentrate on us being the very best we can at that particular game, then the scoreboard will take care of itself, and ultimately we'll get ourselves hopefully into a position to play in the playoffs.
You do have a very tough schedule. You start back in district play right after this. So what do you gain from an experience like this, as you said, in a tough environment, week 1, to move forward into a week 2 where you can kind of tone things up?
Well, the biggest thing is, kids that haven't had confidence, who weren't here, they're going to gain some confidence. But the most important thing is it's going to help us as a coaching staff really see who do we have. Who are these guys? I mean, there were some kids that weren't even in our program last year that were playing. We got some kids that were playing on the freshman team last year. We got some kids that were playing on the JV team. And all of a sudden they showed up here tonight in this environment and had to win against a really, really good football team.
Well, Coach, thank you. We appreciate the time.
You bet it. Thank you.
It's head coach David Molesky. OConnor 1-0 on the season after the win over Steele.
Check back in with Mike later in the show for more on our Game of the Week. But for right now, let's keep it going and head out to Rangers Stadium as legendary head coach Larry Hill and the Smithson Valley Rangers host the Midland Lee Rebels. Midland Lee gets on the board first in this one thanks to this field goal by John Thompson. Then shortly after, Rangers senior cornerback and Houston commit Levi Williams, trying to get something going, completes the pass to receiver Chris Rivera. The Rebels defense, though, had strong first half, holding the Rangers offense to only 35 yards, and Williams just 1 of 11 passing for 9 yards in the first. Williams again, this time with a handoff to Luis Camacho, but no such luck. He's pushed back all the way into the end zone. This one was a defensive grudge match from start to finish. The Rebels go on to win it 24-23. Let's go northwest in Bexar County, where the Johnson Jaguars are taking on the Brandis Broncos. Jags pounce right away. A quick 2-yard punch in by Justin Rodriguez with 2 minutes left in the first puts Johnson up 7-0, but the Broncos kick back. Jordan battles with the 22-yard touchdown run to tie the game up at 7-all. Still in the first, check this out. Kickoff return, Johnson's Jacob Demarius cannot be stopped, takes it 90 yards all the way to the house to give the Jags the lead. However, the Broncos go on to win this one over Johnson 35-17. Let's take a look at a couple other big games from Friday night. Marion Bulldogs and the Luling Eagles. Marion falls 71-6. Eagles beat up on the Bulldogs on Friday. Then the Antlers fall to the Tigers 48-38. Beavers and Bulldogs matchup. The Beavers, Falls City, come out on top 40-7. And then a Thursday night matchup, you know what it is, the Gucci Bowl. You can't forget about that. The Chargers edge the Cougars 28-21. Also, 2 other matchups from Thursday. Miller Buccaneers win 41-18 over the Highlands Owls. Bernie champion Chargers fall to the Stevens Falcons 21-7. Another Friday night matchup, the Lanier Vokes at the home of the Southwest Legacy Titans. The Vokes go on to win this one 25-14. Over on Eagle Land Drive, Brackenridge hosting Somerset, and the Eagles soar right onto the board in this one, a 73-yard touchdown run by Julian Cameron in the first quarter. Check this out. He goes all the way, a quick 7-0 lead. But don't worry, Bulldogs fans, they bite back. Somerset quarterback Daniel Ramos throws it deep to Ryan Rodriguez for the touchdown, and just like that, a 7-7 ball game. Nice catch, nice finish, all the way to the house. Bulldogs then take the lead shortly after that. They go on to win this one 54-39 over Brackenridge. As we go into break, we want to let you know that you can catch us right here on the Friday Night Blitz every Saturday afternoon and then again at 11 p.m. As you can see, it's a 30-minute show dedicated to just high school football, highlights, post-game reaction, and several features all squeezed into a half hour. And we'll go past the regular season and keep on going so long as several area teams are still in the hunt for the state champions. We are only halfway through our high school football coverage. Coming up after the break, we'll take you to the Blossom for the Southwest Roosevelt matchup. Plus, Wagner welcomes United South and Alamo Heights takes on New Braunfels. All that and more when we come back.
Friday Night Blitz is proudly brought to you by John Wayne Service Company. One call does it all for all your AC, heating, plumbing, or electrical needs. And by your local IHOP restaurants. IHOP is open before and after every game, 24/7.
Welcome back. This past offseason, UIL's realignment dropped Southwest High School from 6A to 5A, making the Dragons the favorite to win District 14. Roosevelt Rough Riders, however, challenged that favoritism Friday night. Southwest on the board first thanks to a quick score by Rosendo Oleg. Extra point is good, and Southwest takes a quick 7-0 lead. Then Dragons Will Herrera with the touchdown. He's not done yet, though. Herrera would go on for 2, and he's in there easy. So make that 15-0 Southwest. However, the Rough Riders rally back. Rashawn Owens with the touchdown. So Roosevelt cuts into the lead, but it wouldn't be enough. Southwest goes on to win this one. Wagner Thunderbirds, meanwhile, taking on the United South Panthers. Wagner drops down to 5A after playing in one of the hardest 6A districts last year. Second drive of the game for Wagner, and it's a 4-yard touchdown by Wagner running back LJ Butler. Extra point, no good, but Wagner still takes a quick 6-0 lead. Then, after a recovered fumble on the kickoff, Wagner quarterback Tobias Weaver is going to complete the pass middle of the field. Check this out, wait for it. In comes Jarrell Brown for the 33-yard touchdown. The 2-point conversion is good. Thunderbirds go on to win this one 60-21 over the Panthers. Up next, Alamo Heights playing host to New Braunfels. The Unicorns looking to make some magic on Friday night. New Braunfels quarterback Trey Johns starts this game off 20-yard pass to wide receiver Bryson Dyer. Middle of the field, boom. That would set up the next play, 10-yard fake run by Johns. It would eventually lead to a New Braunfels touchdown by Trey Johns. So New Braunfels takes a quick 7-0 lead. Right here, there it is, 7-0. Unicorns would fall ultimately, though, to the Alamo Heights Mules, 34-24 that final. One of the best rivalries in town took place Thursday night, Clark versus Churchill, or what many refer to as the Gucci Bowl. As far as how the Gucci Bowl came to be, our Marcus Floyd explains in Spirit Schools of the Week, brought to you by John Wayne Service Company.
Well, it's that time of year again. The summer's almost over. The kids are back in school. The guys have their pads back on. And we're left to ponder life's big questions like, how can there be a 0 week? And what is a Gucci?
Gucci, I guess it was a long time ago, probably back in the early 80s, obviously, when they talk about the Gucci and the Gucci products, and they had the Gucci wallets and the Gucci keychains and so forth. Times definitely changed a little bit, for sure.
I mean, I know back in the day, these communities were one of the wealthier areas, so they called it the Gucci Bowl.
Gucci's a brand name, you know. I mean, it was originally, it got that name because these were two of the, you know, kind of upper middle class neighborhoods when the rivalry started, and so they said, oh, let's just call it the Gucci Bowl between those rich kids up north.
Do you know what a Gucci is?
Yes, it's the expensive brand.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about the Clark community and Churchill community. I mean, we've got friends on both sides. We boundary each other. We go to some of the same restaurants. We know each other. Obviously, Churchill's got the best of us the last few years, and we're hoping to turn that around on Thursday night.
No, it's a long-standing tradition. I mean, we've got a lot of parents who played in this game or went to school here and were a part of this game, you know, 30-some-odd years ago and 20-some-odd years ago. So it's part of, even though San Antonio's a 2 million plus, it's a small town community feel, you know, with this rivalry.
I think it's a really big game. I mean, any game that you get to name is pretty cool. So, you know, I know all the Churchill fans love it out there, and, you know, it's really cool being on the field and it's on TV and everybody in San Antonio gets to watch it.
For Sports2Nite, I'm Marcus Floyd.
Stay with us. We still have plenty more to go here on the Friday Night Blitz. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We showed you the highlights of our game of the week earlier in the show, but now it's time to send it back out to Mike Lefko for more on O'Connor's big win. Mike, hopefully you can hear me now. I know we've kept you pretty late out there, but first, this game took a while to get started. What was the turning point for O'Connor?
Well, Jill, first of all, I have to mention that O'Connor literally shut down the lights on Steele. It was a shocking win here for the Panthers, and that's why we've moved across the street to Clemens High School, which sits on the campus of Lenhoff Stadium. It was an impressive win for O'Connor. You're right, it took a while to get started. Maybe some first game, not jitters, but rust a little bit. The turning point of this game has to be the final drive in the first half by O'Connor, a 7-minute, 17-play, 70-yard drive that tied the game at 7. So Steele had finally scored to take a 7-0 lead. O'Connor, on the very next drive, marches all the way down the field and just sucks so much clock off the first half. They march down, they tie the game, and then they took advantage into the second half, and they go on to win. So that drive was the key play.
Now, who from O'Connor or also from Steele stood out to you the most in this matchup?
I think it was a very impressive performance by David Dodd, the quarterback for O'Connor. So he's a junior, and he stepped in to fill the shoes of the recently departed Roel Sanchez. And this is a guy in Sanchez who was a senior last year, led O'Connor to a 12-0 record in the regular season. Those are huge shoes to fill, and Dodd certainly had to step in as the new starter. There was some rust, there was some miscommunication early on, I think on both sides of the ball, but when he settled down, he found comfort in a couple of receivers and then let the ground game open up some space, and that's when, it was no coincidence, that's when O'Connor had 2 touchdowns in the second half, and they got those 21 points, and they held on for the 21-14 win.
The momentum all on his side. We will be sure to look out for Dobb as this season continues. Now, moving forward with Steele and OConnor, both of these teams were ranked in our Sports2Nite top 10 power rankings. What does this matchup mean for both OConnor and Steele going into the season?
It's hard to really gauge what you get out of a team in week one. There might have been some rust. There are new quarterbacks. There are new players on both sides of the ball. If there's one thing, maybe Steele thought they were perhaps a little bit further along because Wyatt Beagle progressed so well at the end of his freshman season. He only lost one game. He entered as the incumbent starter. And to lose is a bit surprising, to only put up 14 points and lose at home in week one, but it's week one. I think OConnor might have discovered they are a little further along than they expected after losing so many seniors off of that state quarterfinal team. But if you remember, Steele was a little slow getting out of the gate last year as well. So ultimately, I think, yeah, OConnor's a bit farther along, but both of these teams will be fine. And both of these teams, as you mentioned, are high in our Sports2Nite power rankings. They will both be there. That's my projection. They will both be towards the top of these power rankings towards the end of the season.
Mike, I like that projection. Thank you so much. Go home, get some sleep. It was a late night. Now, let's continue with our highlights. Let's go ahead and talk a little Bernie football. Shea Hendricks making his debut as the Bernie head coach. Greyhounds hosting the Yoakum Bulldogs. And after a Yoakum turnover, Bernie quarterback Cole Boyd throws this one deep, and Douglas Hodo is left all alone, wide open. 29-yard touchdown pass to make it 16-0 Greyhounds. Shortly after that, Yoakum fumbles the ball. Bernie's Curtis McHale recovers it. And then check this out, on the very next play, ensuing possession, it's going to be Boyd again. This time, hey, with a quarterback keeper, 19-yard touchdown run to make it 23-0. Greyhounds start to run away with this one. Literally, running back Colton Poole would go on for a 59-yard run all the way to the house. Greyhounds win this one 47-27 over the Yoakum Bulldogs. Now, coming up next on the Friday Night Blitz
is proudly brought to you by John Wayne Service Company. One call does it all for all your AC, heating, plumbing, or electrical needs. And by your local IHOP restaurants. IHOP is open before and after every game, 24/7.
Up next on the Blitz, Marcus Floyd sits down with the longest tenured coach in the area, Lanier head coach Don Gatton. Plus, we'll break down the top plays from week 0 of the high school football season, as well as announce next week's game of the week. Welcome back. Time for our Coaches Connection, brought to you by IHOP. Each week, our Marcus Floyd will sit down with a head coach from one of the schools in our local area. This week, he caught up with one of the oldest tenured coaches in San Antonio.
Well, we're joined now by Coach Don Gatton, 21 years here at Lanier High School. Coach Gatton, thanks for your service, number one. And number two, what keeps you here at Lanier for all this time?
The kids, the community, the graduates. Now I have 5 of my ex-players on my staff. You know, they rejuvenated me, so that's why I'm still here.
What does that mean, though, when those kids come back and help give back to the community and help you coach?
It means a lot. It means, you know, I've done my job as a teacher. You know, first of all, I've got them involved, you know, to go to college. And, you know, now they're coming back, they're teachers, you know, they want to come back to their home school and pay back, you know, to their community, you know, help their community out.
You've become a fixture in this community and really kind of helped this community to grow.
Well, you know, I helped them in football. You know, before I became the head coach, you know, there was years, coach would be here 3 years gone, 2 years gone, 2 years gone, 3 years gone. And, you know, basically I've given them stability. These kids, they play for me. They don't quit. They don't give up no matter who we're playing.
Is helping grow these kids as men mean more to you little now than the W's?
Well, it means more to me than, I guess I'd say a state championship, not the W's, but seeing these kids succeed in life, that's what's really important to me.
a fixture here at Lanier, a legend in coaching here in Texas. Man, we couldn't ask for anything better. Thanks,
Appreciate
Coach.
it. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Even though this week was only week 0, there were several big highlights that are worth watching again. Here are the top plays of the week, brought to you by John Wayne Service Company. Can't let you go without announcing next week's game of the week. Steele and OConnor was a great first game of the week, but how about this one? Steele Knights ranked number 3 in our Friday Night Blitz ranking against the Reagan Rathers, also ranked in our Friday Night Blitz rankings at number 7. Again, our game of the week next Friday, September 7th. Before we go, we want to thank you for watching tonight's debut of the Friday Night Blitz, San Antonio's only 30-minute high school football show. We hope to see you back here next Saturday night.